And now, an interview with the mastermind behind the blog Skeptophilia, acclaimed author and teacher at Charles O. Dickerson High School, Mr. Gordon Bonnet.
Have you ever had a paranormal experience?
I have not. I would love to.
What's the best story you've heard?
Best story, like paranormal story
Yes.
I've heard? Oh, that's a good question. The one that struck me as the weirdest because it was so. He's like, why would you make this up? That there was a student who said that for a while in his house, doors were opening and closing on their own. They never could figure out why or what was going on. They tested things like air currents and all that sort of thing. Didn't seem to work. It gradually got more and more until one day I think he got up in the middle of the night, or maybe it was when he got up in the morning. Every light in the house was on. And after that, it stopped happening. And so I asked him, well, did you ever find out, that there was this legend that someone had died in the house or something? He said, no, we never found out any reason for it. It just happened for a couple of months and then stopped, and we never did figure it out. So the fact that it was open-ended made it sound much more plausible to me.
Yeah.
Instead of, oh, there was an axe murderer in the house, and, there was nothing causing it. So I thought that was interesting.
Do you want to believe?
Sure. I think it'd be cool. Absolutely.
What interests you the most about paranormal
I think
activity?
the thing that I like the best about the idea is that it would mean that there's all of this stuff that we don't understand, that we would then just have this great opportunity to explore all sorts of interesting things. And and I love the idea of an afterlife. I think that's kind of cool. I don't particularly want to go away. So I think that all of that stuff would be really kind of cool to have.
Would you ever visit a psychic?
I have visited the psychic.
How was it?
I have visited the psychic. I was in Princeton, New Jersey with my wife, and we were walking along after dinner. We were heading back to our hotel, and I saw a sign that said psychic readings $20. And I looked at it, and I'm like, oh, look. And my wife's like, you're not actually going to go in there, are you? And so she told me the only way we could go in there is if I promised to be nice. And so I went in, and I handed over my $20 and asked her to do a psychic reading. And she actually had some interesting hits. She said that she knew I had 2 kids. I think she got that they were both boys. But then there were some real clear misses as well. And I just thought it was an interesting example of what's called dart thrower's bias, that you tend to notice the hits more than you do the misses. When someone gets something right, you're not expecting it.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. And then when they get it wrong, you're going, okay, well,
It happens to everybody.
it happens to everybody, right? So there was nothing particularly mind-blowing about it. It just was an interesting experience to see her do her thing.
Hi, my name is Deanna Crance, and I'm the secretary in the Student Services Office in the high school. I guess I've always believed to a point that there's a spirit world, and I don't know if I want to say ghost, but that there's a spirit world, and we always have had somebody, a guardian angel, as I guess I would say that. Years ago, I went and saw this one woman, and she said to me, you tell yourself you're a believer, but she said, you have a guardian angel. And she described the person, and as she described it, I'm like, well, that's my grandmother, and I knew exactly which grandmother, which side. And I still well, it was a bad time in my life, and I'm thinking, well, if she's, my guardian angel, why isn't she helping my situation? Or why, you always if you're having a bad time, well, why me? Why am I always going through these bad times? Why is it always happening to me? And if she's watching over me, why am I still going through this, February that year that we get another reading with our medium. Well, prior to that, it was where then it was brought out again that here's your guardian angel, and I get described that. Went through the whole thing. She's short, she's this, that, and that's my grandmother, and I'd forgotten about the earlier, years before that. It's your grandmother. And so I'm like, okay, so grandma's here it is, and before that, when she's saying your grandmother, and I was home, I was alone at that point and had been living alone for years, and I had a blanket I had been getting out that my grandmother had made, an Afghan. So I was told that whenever you are feeling down, get it out, rip, and your grandmother is with you. So I'm like, okay, I gotta keep this out. So it was what finally said, you need to, they are there with you, you need to believe, was when I have cats and my bedroom was very cold, and so I had the blanket at the end of my bed. And I woke up, my legs were cold, and I went to reach down to get the blanket, to pull it up over my legs, and the cat was on the blanket, wouldn't move, and I'm like, get off, to pull it up. And the next day, I run into my medium, and they look at me and they go, what were you doing last night with the blanket? And they're going, what were you doing last night with the blanket? And I go, well, the stupid cat wouldn't get off the blanket. And I was like, whoa. And they're like, your grandmother was showing me this. And I'm like, holy cow, that's crazy. So then I'm like, she's here, she's with me. And it was probably a week later that I was told that your grandmother is telling me you need to go to Florida and spend time with your mother because within a month she will be gone. I booked a flight 2 days later, and I went down and spent a week with my mom. It was the best time ever, and she lived a month and a half. So to me, it's like they are there with us. The spirit world is here, they are with us and watching over us. There's times you think you're having a lousy time, and you are. I don't think they're there to always make our life perfect. We have to learn, we have to be strong, and learn through life and our experiences. I used to dog sit a lot, and I do a dog sit for the King family, and they had been gone, I think it might have been a long weekend week that time, and they had a baby grand piano at their home that was Mr. King's mother's. And she, I guess, was a beautiful player at the piano, and just wonderful. And I was coming home, it could have been after work, or I came home in the afternoon, and I was opening the door, and I heard this beautiful piano playing. And I thought, oh, shoot, they must have come up more early. I didn't see a car, but I'm like, oh, they must come home, somebody's still home. And I come in, and hearing this piano music, and then it stopped. And I told Mr. King, and I am positive it was his mother playing the piano. I have no doubt in my mind that it was his mother. It was beautiful. I also had smells. The signs are always out there. We just got to be open to them. You smell a perfume and there's nobody there. There's somebody there watching over you. So I've never had a bad experience. There's somebody that's watching out over you. So my experiences always have been good. But they've been there. But it was finally, it was the, what were you doing with the blanket? I'm like, the cat wouldn't, and then I'm like, holy cow. So I think they're there, they're with us, and they're taking care of us, they're watching over us. That's my experience.